And did they? A long pause. Then, mostly. Mostly. I almost laughed at how horrifying that word was. You've been hiding as a construction worker. It's cash work, he said. No records. No questions. I stared at him, trying to reconcile this exhausted stranger with the man who used to fall asleep beside me every night. You should have told me, I whispered. Pain flickered across his face. Instantly, that's what almost got you. Killed. Silence? Because part of me understood, and another part was still furious enough to scream. You don't get to decide for me, I said. Finally. I know. But you did anyway. Yes. At least he didn't lie about it. That almost made it worse. Do you know what 6 months did to me? I asked quietly. His expression broke slightly then. The first real crack. I thought about that every day. Not enough to come back. His jaw tightened hard. You think staying away was easy. I think disappearing was cruel. A long silence followed. Then he nodded once. It was. No defense. No excuse. Just truth. And somehow that hurt more. I leaned back slowly, suddenly exhausted. So what now? I asked. I leave again. The answer came too fast. Too prepared. My head snapped up. What? You saw me today, he said. That changes things. No, I said immediately. I'm not doing this. Again. You don't have a choice. Anger surged. Instantly. Don't tell me what choices I have. His voice dropped lower. They still might be. Watching. The fear in his eyes wasn't theoretical. It was lived in, permanent, and, for the first time, I realized something terrifying. He truly believed. Every word he was saying, not as paranoia, survival. You can't keep running forever. I whispered. His expression darkened slightly. I know. Then, after a pause, but I only needed to run long, enough to make sure you stayed alive. The sincerity in that sentence destroyed something inside me because suddenly, this wasn't abandonment anymore. It was sacrifice. Ugly, damaging, unforgivable, in some ways, but real. And the worst part, I could finally see how much it had cost him too. I didn't sleep that night. After we left the diner, Ethan insisted on walking out separately. He waited 10 minutes before leaving through the back entrance while I sat there pretending to drink cold coffee and trying to understand how my life had transformed into something unrecognizable in the span of 2 hours. By the time I got home, every shadow outside my apartment felt wrong. Every parked car seemed suspicious. Every stranger suddenly carried possibility, because once someone tells you that people were watching your life closely enough to map your routines, you never move through the world the same way again. I locked my apartment door and checked it twice, then 3 times. My phone buzzed around. Midnight, unknown number. My chest tightened instantly. Almost ignored it, but I answered. Hello. Silence. Then you met him tonight. The voice was male. Calm tone, emotionless. Every part of my body went cold. Who is this? I whispered. The man ignored the question. He should have stayed gone, he said. Then the line disconnected. I stood frozen in my kitchen, phone still pressed against my ear, long after the call ended, because suddenly Ethan's fear didn't sound irrational anymore. It sounded late. My phone rang again immediately. This time it was Ethan. Did they call you? He asked before I could speak. My silence answered him. Listen to me carefully, he said sharply. Pack a bag. Only essentials. Leave your apartment now. Fear finally arrived completely then. Not confusion. Not disbelief. Fear. Ethan. Now, he snapped. Don't argue with me. Something crashed outside my building. I flinched hard. moving toward the window instinctively. "Don't look outside," Ethan said immediately. Too late. A black SUV sat near the curb below. Engine running, headlights off. My pulse exploded. "How do they know where I live?" I whispered. Another silence, and suddenly I understood. "They never stopped watching me," I said quietly. "No," Ethan replied. "They didn't." That truth settled into me like ice water. All those months, all that distance, and it still hadn't been enough. "You need to leave," he said again. "Right now. What about you?" A pause. Then, "I'll handle this." "No," I snapped immediately. "Absolutely not. You don't understand what these people are capable of, and you don't understand. I'm not letting you disappear." Again, another crash echoed faintly. Through the phone, closer this time, Ethan cursed under his breath. "They're early. The word terrified me more than shouting would have, because it meant there had been a timeline, plan. I grabbed my keys with shaking hands. "What do I do?" I whispered. "There's a motel off Route 8, he said quickly. "Room 214. I already paid for 3 nights under another name. You planned this." I planned for the possibility. The carefulness of that sentence nearly broke me, because it meant he had never actually believed he was safe. Not once. I shoved clothes into a bag, blindly while still holding the phone. "Ethan," I said quietly. "What? Are you in danger right now?" Silence. Too long. Then, "Yes." My throat tightened painfully. "Then come with me." "I can't." "Why?" "Because they followed you from the construction site." My stomach dropped. "They know your face now," he continued. "If we stay together, you become leverage again." I stopped moving, because deep down, I knew he was right. "I hate you for this," I whispered. The silence on the other end cracked slightly. "I know." And somehow that made it worse. Not defensive, not angry, just tired. Like he hated himself for it too. I left through the back stairwell 10 minutes later. Every sound felt amplified. Every passing car made my pulse jump. The black SUV was still outside the front of the building, waiting for me. I drove without music, gripping the wheel hard enough to hurt my hands. The motel looked exactly like the kind of place nobody notices. Faded sign, dim lights, forgettable, perfect for hiding. Room 214 was already unlocked. Inside, a duffel bag sat near the bed. My breath caught slightly when I recognized it. Ethan's. He had prepared. This before seeing me again. That realization hurt in ways I couldn't explain, because it meant even after 6 months apart, he had still been planning around my survival. There was a note on the table. Just one sentence. "If something happens to me." There's a flash drive taped beneath the bathroom sink. My chest tightened so violently it hurt. I dropped to my knees beside the sink immediately, fingers searching underneath until they found it. A small black drive, cold in my hand, and suddenly I understood. This wasn't just evidence anymore. It was insurance. A dead man's switch. My phone rang again at 3:12 a.m. "Ethan," I answered. Instantly. "Where are you?" Heavy breathing met me first. Then his voice. "I need you to listen carefully." Fear shot through me immediately. What happened? "They found me." My entire body went numb. "Ethan, I'm okay for now," he said quickly. "But if I don't call again by morning, you take the drive to the FBI field office downtown." "No." "You have to." "No," I repeated, panic rising fast now. "Tell me where you are." Silence. Then, "I'm sorry." The line went dead. I called back immediately. No answer. Again. Nothing again. Voicemail. By sunrise, I was still sitting on the Motel bed clutching the phone like refusing. To let go could somehow change reality. Then came the knock. 3 sharp hits against the door. I froze instantly. Another. Knock, federal agents, a voice called. Open the door. My pulse hammered painfully. I looked at the flash drive in my hand, then slowly walked to the door. When I opened it, 2 men stood outside holding badges. Real ones, not fake intimidation. The older agent studied my face carefully. Are you Olivia Carter? He asked. Yes. He exchanged a glance with the other agent, then said the sentence that destroyed me completely. Your husband is alive because he refused to give you up. The world tilted. Slightly. What? The older agent exhaled slowly. We've been building a case around Mercer Financial for over a year, he said. Your husband became a confidential witness 6 months ago. I stared at him, unable to process the words. He disappeared to keep you insulated from the investigation. The agent continued. Last night, the organization realized he was still in contact with you. Fear crawled up my spine again. Where is he now? I whispered. Another silence. Then, in surgery. Everything inside me stopped. He was attacked around midnight, protecting the location he thought you were hiding in. The agent said carefully. He led them away from the motel before we intercepted. My knees nearly gave out, because suddenly every terrible piece fit together at once. The fear, the running, the disappearing, the labor job. None of it had been about escaping me. It had all been about protecting me. And the truth didn't just hurt. It destroyed me. Because for 6 months, I thought my husband abandoned me. When really, he had been sacrificing everything to make sure I survived long enough to hate him for it.